Hi, welcome back to AI News You Should Know About for July 31st. I'm your host, Ashley Coffey.
And I'm Daniel Hill. There's a lot of AI news out there, and we give you what you need right now. This week on the show, we'll be talking about LinkedIn introduces a Seems Like AI Slop button, and librarians are hosting viral avoiding AI workshops for people who are fed up with big tech. We'll be covering all of that on our show today, but first, here's a quick word from our sponsors. Welcome back. Let's dive in. All right. LinkedIn introduces a Seems Like AI Slop button. This is coming from 404 Media, one of my favorite outlets. We know how painful it is to read through LinkedIn posts that were clearly generated by AI. The single line sentences, the excessive use of emojis, the X is not Y sentence structure that's really popular. The signals are stronger than ever, and platforms are losing out on engagement because users are ignoring AI generated content. When ChatGPT entered the market in November 30th of 2022, you could start to see a shift in content on LinkedIn with the introduction of AI and the growth and expansion. But for the most part, people were still writing their own posts. But, fast forward into 2026, where we are now, there's an AI flavor for almost everything under the sun. And the ability for users to generate lengthy content for AI posts is really high. So with democratized access to AI, the increase in AI slop unfolds as we've seen. Here's the news. Earlier this month, 404 Media reported that AI detection service Pangram estimated 41% of long-form posts and 30% of short-form posts on LinkedIn are likely generated by AI, and people are hungry for real human content. Hari Srinivasan, Chief Product Officer at LinkedIn, wrote their own post about the button on LinkedIn. Quote, AI slop is a top priority for all of us. We really care about this. People come to LinkedIn to connect with real people and share their real perspectives, ideas, and expertise. Here are a few more changes to keep it that way, he wrote. And the button, in part, will help LinkedIn tune its own models for identifying AI slop. Quote, we are ramping up a series of new and improved classifiers that identify if a post is AI slop or generally low quality content. This will reduce the amount of AI slop you might see in suggested content and from outside your network. I like this. What are your thoughts, Daniel?
I like it too, but I'm curious of what the definition around AI slop is. The article that you linked to included a pretty good definition of some of the things that typically identifies AI generated posts. So for instance, if it says X is not Y and framing a sentence that way, that's a good indication. Having a list of takeaways, extra spaces between single sentences, and so forth. I would say that some of that, yes, is AI slop, but some of it is just some people write that way. So if you used AI to make a post, that doesn't necessarily mean it's AI slop, but it certainly could be. And I'm interested in that kind of delineation. I think on other platforms, you can say not interested, right? But to give that specific identifier of, I think this is AI slop, I think LinkedIn here is kind of playing the long game to say, okay, now that we know what people generally think is AI slop, let's start suggesting things that indicate it's not AI slop. Interested to see how LinkedIn uses this data and how it informs future creation of content on LinkedIn.
Yes, and I want to hone in on this piece right here. We actively work to reduce low quality, automated, or generic content. So I want to know how they're defining low quality as well. And let's not forget that some of these tools have metadata thumbprints that will signal to other tools that you're using AI. Like if you generate an image in ChatGPT Images 2.0 and try to upload it to Facebook, it's going to automatically flag it as AI because there's a thumbprint in there. So curious what signals come out of this. All right, we're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we'll be talking about librarians are hosting viral avoiding AI workshop for people who are fed up with big tech.
Welcome back. Continuing with our stories, the next one has to do with librarians hosting AI avoidance workshops because some people are fed up with big tech. By way of background, not everyone loves AI and the way that it's crept into so many of our online experiences. However, turning it off can often be a multi-step process that's different for every app or website that you use. Here's the news. Charlie Bailey, a librarian in South Philadelphia, teaches a workshop called Avoiding AI. He says, quote, I was inspired by the feeling of people's frustration with AI tools being kind of forced onto them and feeling like AI tools we didn't ask for are suddenly everywhere in our lives, end quote. The workshop is an hour long, and it's an overview of how AI chatbots and other consumer AI tools work, explaining why people might want to use the products and why they might choose to abstain. Then he walks through all of the most popular tech platforms and devices with step-by-step instructions to guide people to turning off specific features. Interestingly, he said that it's something he considers as, quote, advancing digital literacy and helping people reclaim their autonomy over whether they want to use AI tools, end quote. And I think this is a really great concept because there might be some things you like about AI, but there might be some experiences where you don't want AI involved. You don't want your data scraped and used in that way. And if you can turn it off, that's your choice. You might want to. Ashley, what are your thoughts?
I'm so glad you picked this one because I love it. Bravo to Charlie Bailey for taking the initiative to put this together. But I think the key thing is he's creating a mechanism for people to have choice in the first place. Like they don't know what they don't know. So I love the aspect of digital literacy here, which is so needed across the US, especially. There's very little digital literacy. If you think about it, like, I had a typing class. I don't think they offer typing classes anymore in school. But yes, this is a really good way to help empower people to, one, have a better understanding of how AI is integrated into their tools, but have the choice to use it or not use it if they want to do so. But we'll see what happens. I'm curious if this is going to like take off with other libraries across the US. Is he building this as something that people can take and facilitate in their own libraries? We'll see.
So he got it from someone who is a librarian in Maine who made a journal article about developing her own workshop. People asked for the slides. He was one of the people who asked for the slides. The woman said in the article that she is getting inundated with requests for her slides. And it made me think, could that be something that I offer to my own local library as a class? And I think it's interesting because if this conversation was happening a year ago, you and I would say, hey, we should do classes for people who are not as tech savvy, who want to learn AI. But now it's the reverse. Let's do classes for people who are not so tech savvy, who do not want AI. And I think that's just such a dichotomy of how I would have thought about this 12 months ago. And I love this idea.
Thank you so much for bringing this up. And I love that you linked to the publication, Refusal as Instruction, Equipping Patrons to Resist AI, Data Brokers, Big Tech, and More. We'll put that in the show notes. That way, if anyone wants to read it, you can. But I don't doubt that person's being inundated with requests. That just shows a huge signal that people want more of this.
Yeah, the article is great, by the way. We'll link to it in the show notes. It even has the tip, which I didn't know. If you add this string I'm about to say to the end of a Google search link, it hides all the AI results. So if you search for something on Google and then you type ampersand UDM equals 14, it hides all the AI results from the search. Now that's just a little 10-second tidbit. I didn't know that, but this is the kind of thing that people are learning in these classes. I think it's really smart.
Yes, I actually saw this today. Someone had a hack, which would make sense. If you go into the URL on LinkedIn, like you see job posts and whatnot, if you go to the URL, it'll have 8,600 in the URL, and that's as many seconds as there are in a day. Right. So if you change it to like 3,600, it'll show you the job postings within the last hour instead of the last 24 hours. So you're the first person to see it. And I was like, oh, that makes sense.
Little tips like that sometimes are just completely, I hate to use the word game changer because I feel that's overused, but they really help you to think about things in a different perspective or do something you couldn't do before.
And this is why the beauty of technology and having a foundational understanding of it gives you such a competitive advantage in the world of AI because you're able to pull from little tidbits like that.
Yeah. That is it for our AI news you should know about this week. You can find links to everything we've discussed in the show notes. And please, we'd love to hear from you and get your feedback on how we can make the show better. You can find me on Instagram, Threads, and YouTube at Daniel Hill Media.
We love hearing from you, our audience. This is why we do this. And if you like the show, send us a DM. Let us know when you're listening to it. Is it on your walk? Is it during your lunch break? That way we can tailor our show to meet your needs. And if you want more tech talk, you can find me on Instagram at Ashley R. Coffee 89. That's ASHLEYCOFFEY 89, where you can sign up for my monthly AI newsletter that's free, that gives you tips and tricks on how to make the most out of your AI.
Thank you for listening, and come back next time for more AI news you should know about.